everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast for personal development, money, and entrepreneurship. Celebrate you! Woohoo! So
Yep,
today
yep.
we have Kevin Candor. Thank you, Kevin. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, everyone. Before I go straight into Kevin, let me introduce him to you. So, Kevin is the founder and owner of Movement Dynamics, one of the premium gyms here in Malaysia. And he is also my personal trainer, and he's done an amazing job in keeping myself fit, especially
Thank you
during
very much. Thank you
lockdown.
very much. Thank you very much. I just tell you what to do. You do all the work.
Yeah, no, but like genuinely, ladies, if you don't have a personal trainer that properly helps you to get you doing what you want to do and achieve the role, the job that you want to do, like training, then you've got the wrong personal trainer. He should not be shouting at you. He should be on the side like he is.
For sure. For sure.
Awesome. So there's so much we can talk about, from entrepreneurship and keeping the business alive during COVID
Yep.
lockdowns, to nutrition and hydration and gym and mindset, because those are the four things that we always talk about during our.
Yep. Pretty much. Yep.
So how about we start with today in the morning? You told me that you've been in flow during this lockdown.
Yep.
How did that happen?
Initially when I heard that we were going into the third lockdown for Malaysia, I was like, when we were initially going into it, I was like, oh my God, man, this is going to be really rough. And for a while after we went in and everyone was staying at home and we had no idea when was this whole thing going to go, then you have that whole doubt that comes in your head like, man, I have this company that I'm running. I had to pay for these employees. How am I going to make make it through all of this, because I'm now responsible to a bunch of people. Like, and the thing is, for me, I've always been a personal trainer, and this whole movement dynamics and having a whole team was something that happened in the part at the beginning of this year, actually in February.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Beginning of
Before that,
2020, not 21.
21.
Beginning of 21. Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. So before that, it was just all me, and then suddenly I have this whole team of people, and then we've gone into lockdown as well, and you're like, man, what is going on, right? And so for a while, I was just trying to figure out some stuff, but then what I realized is, man, it's okay, to not know what's gonna, like, when the lockdown is gonna end. What can you do right now, that when you come out of this lockdown, you're gonna be in a much better position than you're going in. And for me, it was just figuring all those things, because it really is this, right, Monica? There is always something we can work on to improve. Some tiny improvement somewhere can be made, right?
Yeah.
And just so what I did is I looked, I on my of my business. What I did is I took a book and I wrote all the different areas of my business, and I was like, and I listed each task that is carried out in each one, and I was like, how can we optimize this to be even better?
Oh,
And
wow.
what I know, yeah, I wanted to get an overview, understanding of what's happened to the business. And what I noticed was my social media site needed a massive boost, right? And this is just luck for me. My brother he's a digital strategist, and the problem for me was, all this while, whatever idea that I had, I couldn't communicate it with people really well.
Mm.
So, it was, Kevin has all these ideas, and I feel like when it comes to fitness, no one can explain it as well as I feel I can, right? I'm
Okay.
able to explain concepts in a way that is very simple and understandable, but because I didn't understand social media, I couldn't explain it. So I started working with my brother, and suddenly this guy understands how to convert my ideas into pictures or texts. And suddenly I'm like, there's just so much more people responding to the stuff we put
Huh?
out these days. And I'm just like, man, this is, and I'm coming out of this lockdown having a whole new section. I have a digital strategist, right? And I feel like for me that is completely the next step in my business. And almost immediately when this guy started working with me, the amount of responses that we have for our business just completely changed. Like we have almost every day we have a new personal training client messaging us and asking us for our rates and stuff.
One lead per day. That is awesome.
Yeah,
What's your brother's
yeah.
name? Everybody wants to follow him on Instagram now.
So his name is Dennis Kando. He has his own company called Catalyst Malaysia, and and man, I'm not saying this because he's my brother, but this guy is really good at what he does.
Cool, amazing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then that's
But
helped
I mean,
you properly get the results that you want.
yeah. I mean, also because I think I told you in the morning today, it just happened that um, it's really tough to do work during the lockdown because man, you're lazy, right? Like, and everyone is like, to do the work, it's so hard. So I listen to a lot of these Kobe Bryant motivational videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it just happened that I came across this guy called David Goggins. He's this Navy SEAL who's probably the most toughest man on earth, right? And he's one of those guys that did those ultra marathons normally where you rest for 6 months. He did it 8 weekends back to back,
It's
right?
crazy.
And that's crazy. And he was talking about this one line that I really remembered was in my book called Taking Souls. I've devised ways of taking the soul of anyone or anything that's in front of you. And taking souls doesn't mean killing someone. It means getting them to behave in a certain way that you want them to behave, right? For example, in your case, in my case, taking Monica's soul would be getting her to eat better quality protein and eat move around more, and just whatever your goal is, you're so relentless at it that you get people to ultimately, or things to work the way you want it to, right?
You're good
And
at it.
this
Like you're good at that as well.
and and he said, if something is relentless, nothing wants to get in the way of something that's relentless. Think about it, right? If you're always just attacking, at some point whatever you're attacking is going to move out of the way, right? So it's pretty much all of this combination of these videos and stuff like that, that I've sort of started to learn to embrace the suck. It's not fun, but you just embrace it, you accept it, and you just go and show up and just do the work, right?
Awesome.
And yeah, and it builds discipline, and it builds that mental resilience to always just, I mean, Monica, some days where I have like 10 clients. Before this, I would be like, oh my God, 10 clients. But now it's sort of, for me, I see it as I know where I'm trying to get to, and these guys are, like doing all this stuff on a daily basis. It's what's going to get me there,
Yeah,
right? So, yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
And I,
So, yeah, it's, if you think about it, right? For me, last year, like I said, I was a personal trainer by myself, and I was pretty broke because I had just left my previous company, and then I didn't have any clients, so I couldn't afford Grab, so I'll be walking everywhere, to my clients' houses and stuff, right?
wow.
So yeah,
You used
and
you used to walk instead of using
yeah,
transport.
yeah, because like for example, from Mount Kiara to here, it's really expensive by Grab, and I couldn't afford it, so I just walk all the way from Mount Kiara, come back home, I have more clients, and at that
That
point
is
when I was walking,
discipline and resilience.
I mean, when I was walking, all I could think about was I know where I'm trying to get to, and this is what I have to do. And so I'm currently living in the future that I wanted back then, right?
Awesomeness.
right? And so I'm sort of looking at it in the sense of my future self is looking back at it, and I'm building that future that I want, just doing the work every day these days, so I can accurately predict what's going to happen in the case of my this one, because I know this is where I will be in a few years, and I'm already doing the work that I want right now.
Every single day. And I think
Yeah,
it's like you're very spot on. Discipline.
it's
Discipline is
it
just
is the hardest thing to master, right?
yes.
Discipline is the hardest thing to master, because Monica, when you can build discipline, you can achieve anything you want, because discipline gets you to go and do things when you don't want to, right? You want to make money, you want to be a better piano player, whatever. Discipline is the hardest skill to master.
Yeah, and I think with you, when I train with you, of course, in addition to training, one of the things that I've been building little by little by little is discipline. Because
Hmm?
many times, like I wake up and I'm like, oh, it's 5 to 8, and our session is at 8. And I'm like, I don't want to go. And it could be like so easy to just say, not
Yep,
going, still sleeping, bye. And today was one
yep,
of those. And now it's more of a, okay, I just woke up, give me 5 minutes. But
yep,
then it's building that discipline to doing it regardless of how you're feeling and regardless if you don't want to do it.
yep. I mean, if you think about it, right, discipline is required on my side as well when I train clients. For example, I used to be that guy that I would have a client at 8 o'clock. I'd wake up. I'm like, oh my God, man, do I have to like, ah, okay, okay, you know what, let's go. Versus that mindset that has changed for me now, I wake up and I'm like, man, I'm excited for today. Like, it's just I've learned to enjoy and thrive in uh, that uncomfortable feeling, and I love it because it builds character, to
It
get.
does build character.
Yeah, it calluses your mind. It calluses your mind to be in uncomfortable situations all the time, right? So when you do come across that uncomfortable situation, it doesn't affect you as much because you're so mentally tough and prepared for it.
Yes. And also, one of the things that I like about your training style is not only you show up to the 1 hour training, but it's more of during the week, I have to report every single day my number of steps, my weight, starting this week, my water intake, and pictures of my food, which before we go into that, at some point
Yeah,
I had a lot of resistance, especially the weight, because I'm like, I don't care about my weight.
yep,
But you do.
yep,
But at the same time, it's I could skip reporting my weight, but then once I got into the habit of doing it and I started seeing progress, and
yep,
I was like, you started sending me my metrics, and you were like, oh, this
yep,
week you got 80% consistency or 70%. What's up? And I
yep.
could be like, oh, it's so annoying when he asks me, why don't you record your weight today? I'm like, I don't want to. But at the same time, it's more of a, by now, it's
Yeah,
just like a thing that I do. And I've
yep,
seen the progress. So now I'm like,
yep,
cool. Now I've got the discipline of reporting my weight and my steps every single day. And even I've thought about it and I'm like, it's just less information. But no, it's not just less information because it is
yep.
building the habit of discipline. And once you have
Yes.
discipline in one thing, then you can expand discipline to everything. So that's why it's so powerful.
That's true. That is true. And you know what I've realized is why I send you this whole tracking metrics and all that. It's not only enough to tell people what to do, they have to understand that the amount of effort they're putting this amount of effort, and this is what the results is looking like. So you see that consistency rating you get at the bottom of your report, that means it shows how well you've been sticking to the report. For me, I think that probably is what completely changed how I approach personal training, because now I can quantify effort. I can actually show you this is the level of effort you are putting in, and if you're not seeing the results. It's because we can improve this number over here, which is how much effort you're putting into your program. If let's say you're 100% consistent to your program and you're not seeing results, then there's something wrong with the program and you need to change that. So
Interesting.
yeah, ultimately by tracking everyone's consistency, you can just measure effort, right? And when you can measure effort, it it changes everything else. Like, because then we know exactly what to change. Basically, all the data you give me is like it allows me to, like, it's like small pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, right? When you have enough data points, you finally get a picture of what's happening with your so right. But simply the habit of asking people, have you done it? Right? My job essentially what it boils down to as a personal trainer is, have you done it? If you can ask these people all the time, you can get them to get the results they want. Because like in your case, you were not tracking weights and stuff like that, but we didn't stop. Every time we were
Yeah.
like, okay, this is what we're going to try, this is what we're going to try, and you just keep, you know, you
Yeah.
keep, trying to improve on something, right? Always just improving, and at some point people are gonna, like, okay, you know what, this guy is just gonna keep bugging me, right? At some point I'm just
I
gonna,
might as
I'm
well
just
do
gonna try
it.
this. Yeah.
Yes, but
And
it's
that's
true because it's coming back to what you said at the beginning of the session. It's about
yep,
making improvements, little improvements every day. And for me,
yep,
something as simple as wait, and people may be listening and it's like, dude, why do you wait to yourself every day? Let's go back in a second. But
yep,
like you said, I was very inconsistent, and there was a micro shift that you were like, why don't you
yep,
put the, what do you call the machine, why don't you put
yep,
the scale next to the bed properly so that
yep,
you don't forget? And now it's like as simple as I wake up and the machine is in there, so I just do it because
yep,
there's no resistance. It is as simple as, okay, just wake up, go to the bathroom, come back, done. Don't
yep,
even come back to the bed. It's like, okay, once you
yep.
step on the scale, then it's like, okay, starting the day.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? As people, like what we tend to forget is there is very simple solutions to problems, right? And sometimes it could be as easy as controlling a situation or your environment before it happens. For example, I think I might have told you this. One of my clients, her husband calls me up and he's like, Kevin, you solved my wife's drinking problem. And I told you, right? And the reason was like I was talking with her and she said she drinks a lot. And I was like, why do you drink a lot? She's like, I have it at home. I was like, well, don't buy it. And then it's that simple, right? So, like with people, for example, to get them to change their habits, you can't change it everything in one day. It doesn't work because it's just too much. But if it happens at a very slow pace, it becomes a habit. Like, initially when I started as a trainer, what I used to do is I used to write meal plans. And when I used to write meal plans, what will happen is I would write, eat oats and eat salad and stuff like that. And people will literally follow it for, guess how many days people would follow it for?
5
0 days, like literally
0 days.
zero.
Oh,
Yeah. No one follows a meal plan because how people don't even consider what I eat food. They're like, what the hell is this, man? This is not even food, right? So you have to able to change people. You can't tell them what to eat. You have to take their current habits and then slowly move them away from it. Think of it like this, right? So these asteroids that come and hit the earth once in a while.
yeah.
So one of the ways that they plan to move this asteroid from hitting Earth, a potential one, is to send a small spacecraft to orbit the asteroid and slowly move it
Move
away,
it millimeter
right?
by
It
millimeter. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit, right? But over time, because of the distances involved, it completely misses the Earth, right? Just making a tiny shift in its trajectory, right, is enough, like, to change people over time, right?
Yes.
So yeah,
There is some, that's a very good point. Like there's a mantra that I learned over 10 years ago from a guy called Matthew Hussey, dating coach. And his
Right,
was little things done consistently create extraordinary results. And that stuck
right.
with me since then. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's a
Yep,
micro shift, but it's a micro thing. It's a little thing done, keyword, consistently. That then you
yep.
can even move an asteroid from hitting the earth. That powerful it is.
Yeah, you know, the ultimately, right, Monica, I don't think people understand this as much. Discipline means you're doing something consistently. If you're doing something consistently, means you're working towards whatever you want in life. Like that is really it, right? Discipline does consistency, which does anything you pretty much want. You want to be a fighter pilot, a race driver, whatever you can imagine, you can do it, right? So, and here's the beautiful thing with exercise and with training, it builds a key habit that carries over to everything else in life,
Hmm.
right? If you think about it, people who are able to exercise on a regular basis, right? And exercising is sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just like, for example, you doing your split lunges, you're like, I hate that guy on the other side of the screen, and it's difficult. But because you're showing up to do these difficult things, like you learn to always like. I mean, you know, when you have that moment where you have to do work, and you're like, I'm gonna check Instagram for like a quick second and see how's my
How's
post
Kevin?
going. Yeah, and you would notice you're like, I'm gonna go there for 1 second, and then you put it down and like, oh shit, that's been 1 hour. You know, I mean, at least it used to
We
be for
all
me,
we
right?
all do that.
Right. So it's our ability to put things that um, like this things like this, right? You know, always checking your phone. That is a form of instant gratification. You check it immediately, you get that hit of happiness, versus you know doing that work that you know you should be doing because at the back of your head it's bothering you. You know that voice, right, at the back of your head that's saying, "Man, I should really be doing this," and it's bothering you, but you still put it off, and it's not a nice feeling. But for example, if you finish a workout or a task that you didn't want to do and you complete it, if you focus on that feeling all the time, that feeling of, man, I feel great,
It,
and you're always living for that, it changes you how you think.
it does. It properly changes your
Yeah,
brain.
yep,
It's just like
yep,
neuroscience. It changes the neural patterns of the brain. Hence, you
yep,
change
yep,
properly until it becomes an
yep,
automatic habit, way of thinking.
yep. Here's something that I do these days. Whenever I feel like not motivated to like do stuff, immediately I go on YouTube and I play one of these motivational videos, right? And then you just listen. I listen to some of my favorite people talk, like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and I'm hearing this guy's talk, and I'm like, man, I'm not performing anywhere nearby this guy's level, right? So for me, it's like I look up to these people, and I aspire to work as hard as them, to have that work ethic as them. So and then like you're like, oh my god, I'm so motivated. You go back and you start doing work, and like for example, yesterday I had like a full day booked with clients, and then I had to send my clients reports, right? And I was telling you earlier, I think I have 40 clients that I had to send reports to, and I started at 12 a.m. at night and I finished at 4 a.m. And
Oh,
yeah, because that's how long it takes to like compile all the data and send in the next week's this one. But I was like, I just kept going back to those motivational videos, watching it and going back to work, watching it and going back to work. Yeah,
cool.
it's a system that works for me, and I roll with it.
And the secret is keeping your mind into the right mindset, the right
I
energy.
I guess I guess yeah, it's always for me. It's I'm very competitive.
Hmm.
And so me, I like to believe I'm competing against Kobe Bryant in terms of his work ethic. I like to believe I can compete against Michael Jordan. I know it sounds crazy, but because I aspire to compete at that level, I think I am able to perform. I work a lot more harder than most people are willing to.
Question for you. You're a personal trainer, but what is your background?
My background in the sense
But
of
you used to
what I was
do,
working.
yeah, you used to do something. You used to be a bodybuilder, weren't you? Or not?
Haha, yeah.
A
I was so
competition, yeah.
yeah, it's a bodybuilding competition. So when I was in college, this was when I really started hitting the gym because I was working, I was studying and I needed some extra money. So I started working in this gym, right? And I was 50 kilos at that point, and I really wanted to gain weight. So I'm one of those guys again that whenever I need to do something, I just go all out, like leave no stone unturned. So my gym used to be paying me 500 bucks a month, and they would out of that I had to pay 200 bucks for my rental, and I'm left with 300 for food. So I would go to a shop with a book and write down the calories of everything and how much grams do I get per calorie, right? And I would stand for hours in the shop just writing down everything. That's because I wanted to gain weight. So I went from 50 kilos to 85 kilos. Yeah, over the course of I think 2.5 years. But it was muscle, but it was also quite a lot of fat because back then I didn't really care about looking lean. It was just size. I wanted to get as big as I could. And then it just happened that the guy who owned the gym, Raj, he was like, "Why don't you try this bodybuilding competition that's coming up?" I was like, "Huh." And then I joined it, right, for the fun of it. And I wasn't expecting to win or anything like that. So I went in. I didn't really prepare for anything. So they ask you to go up on stage. And the funny thing is, we went in. I was late, and we had to get this small, those tiny looking underwears that bodybuilders wear.
Yes.
And I went in and asked for size M, and they were like, "Oh, we don't have size M. We only have size L." And I'm so glad I got size L because that barely fit anything in there,
Okay.
right? And you go up on stage, you're wearing this really tiny thong, and it was so weird, like with a whole bunch of people staring at you, and you have to do different poses.
Yeah.
And I had not practiced any of this. I had no idea what I was doing. So I just went up on stage. I was like following what everyone else was doing. And I came off the stage and I told them the bunch of guys from my gym who came in. I was like, "All right, guys, you're not gonna win. Let's just go." And they're like, "Kevin Kondo, come to the stage for round number two." I'm like, "What?" And so I
Wow.
go up on stage, and they're like, "Okay, so this is your solo round. You have prepared a song, right? So we're gonna play that song, and you're gonna post that song." I was like, "I didn't prepare any song." They're like, "What?" I was like, "Honestly, man, I didn't think I'll get this far." And they were like, okay, you know what? We're just gonna play some song for you. Just pose." So I go up on stage and like making all these funky looking like poses, like that I
You
remember
were
from all this
having
bodybuilding.
fun.
Yeah, I was just like, winging it at that point. And I felt it was disastrous. I went back down and I told these guys, "All right, guys, I'm definitely not going to go to the next round. Let's just go back." And they're like, "Kevin, come to the stage for round number three." I'm
Oh,
like, "All right,
wow.
who slept with the judge? Who slept with the judge, guys?" Right? So I go up on stage again. This is for the third round. And again, had no idea what I was doing. And I ended up getting fourth place for this.
Wow.
And yeah, and here's the really cool story, right? I got fourth place, but they gave me the medal of the second place winner.
How come?
And I think they gave it to the wrong person. So they
Oh,
were like,
they gave you
but
second place when you really
yeah, they
wanted
gave me.
fourth.
Yeah, I got fourth. So they called me when I was like, I had just got into my car. Like, "Oh, we gave you the medal for the wrong this one." I was like, "Oh, too bad, man. I already left. I'm like really far away." So I have the medal of the second place winner.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah,
that's a very good story because it has a very good lesson. It's from novice and from saying yes to a crazy opportunity
yeah, yeah,
to winning the competition, kind of, without
yeah.
even preparing,
Kind of,
just
kind of.
following your flow properly.
Yeah, that's one way. Just get the wrong medal and you.
Yeah.
But it was a fun experience, and I definitely learned a lot about bodybuilding back then. And that gym that I was going to was a very, very testosterone, just guys gym. It was just a bunch of guys just like, "Ah, And it's one of those gyms where if you're going upstairs, you can smell the guys already.
Uh,
You know, it's one of those
yeah,
college gyms, right? And but the thing is, that was the atmosphere. That was the atmosphere that I loved going into back in college, and it just made you want to go and pump some weights. You know, it's all that adrenaline. You're just like ah. And I look back at my videos of when I was training back then, and I'm the guy that appears on those YouTube videos, those fail army videos. That's just doing the dumbest shit in the gym.
oh
I'm not
my
sure if I
God.
can swear on your podcast, but I'm that guy apparently. So, but that's the thing, right? It's you do something for so long and you're always like looking at improving that at some point you reach where I am,
Yes.
right? Yeah, so it's definitely different times of my fitness journey. I've done different things because after I did my bodybuilding competition, I was like, what's next? They're like maintain. And that's super boring, staying in one place and nothing to work towards is just the most boring thing ever, right? So then I went into
Beautiful
calisthenics and then
lesson. I'm like, can you repeat
yeah.
that again for everyone? Because that applies in everything in life, in work, relationships, business, bodybuilding, and personal trainer.
Right. So I mean, like, one of the really key things is that, you need something to work towards because then it allows you to plan a set of actions to
Yeah,
take on a daily basis to get there, right? Staying in the same place, I mean, I guess there are some people who are going to come in and say, they're fine with it, and that's okay. But this is a podcast for entrepreneurs and all that. So, we're definitely a bunch of people who like,
working.
seeing what's next, how far can we
Yes,
push something, right?
yes.
So I guess, for a bunch of people, they are okay playing Pokemon Go every day and they're happy with their life. That's fine. But for those of you that can push and want to push, you should always strive to work towards something, right? I mean, here's the thing, right? Also, what we're trying to do ultimately is in our own lives is we're trying to set a bar that is just so freaking difficult that what it means is that you can continue working towards it till the end of your life. That's your ultimate legacy. You know what you're trying to have people remember you as once you leave the thing. If you set the bar way too low, what happens is once you achieve it, then it's sort of like, okay, what's next, right?
Yeah,
So I think that's the thing. We have to be able to set like a very just crazy thing that for me it's I want to go to space. I want to go to space at least once and to be able to see
good.
the planet from a spaceship, right? And
Now that is
it sounds
possible.
crazy.
Now it's
It
possible. So you just need the
is
money.
possible. Exactly. It so and this is what I realized is that um think of if you think of life as a game, being a billionaire is sort of winning the game in the sense that anything you want to do in life, right? You want to, own a submarine. I don't know. I'm just saying, right? Whatever you want to do, it's unlocked by the possibility of by having money, right? I mean, there are definitely things money can't buy, but there's also sure a hell of a lot of things that money can earn. And if you think about money, it's not just buying material wealth; it's your ability to buy experiences,
Yes.
traveling to a different country, and just being able to live in a different place and just do whatever you want.
You touched a very, very good topic. Money. How do you manage your relationship with money? Is it a conscious one or not really working on it?
For me, what I realized money is it's something that comes because of the value I add to people. The more value I can add to people, the more money that I can come. So at the end of the day, I'm not that concerned about money itself because I know it is a byproduct of doing a good job. And so my focus has just become, Kevin, all you need to do is just do a good job and money is just, it automatically comes. I mean, for example, if in my industry I'm servicing clients properly and I'm taking care of them and they like me, they're gonna go out there and talk to me about me to more people. As a result, as a result, then I get the money instead of it being the other way around, right? So I mean, like, and ultimately, again, like people see, some people see, oh, money is a bad thing and all that. Like there are like literally sometimes people say, oh, money is like having too much money is a bad thing, it makes you evil. Not really. Money is a piece of paper, right? What value is what you give to it. If you're saying someone changes with money, there's something essentially wrong with that person in the first place because it is literally a piece of paper. All money does is it amplifies whatever
Yeah.
behavior that you have within you. If you're someone who's very kind, now you have the power to go and actually donate all this money and make a bigger difference versus someone who is always, a little bit tight with the money. Then as money amplifies, that's what they're going to become more of, right?
Yeah.
So and money is your ability to buy freedom in the sense freedom of time because you're no longer stuck in a job that is sitting 8 to 5 o'clock. I mean, I love my job, I love training clients, but also there is we live on a planet that we could be exploring and all the crazy things that we could be doing in this life, right? If we're not doing that and we're just stuck in this one small place, what's the whole point of even like this amazing chance that we have, right? So that's what money is to me. It is freedom to go and it allows me to buy experiences in my life that I can't do without money. Going to space, I don't think it's going to be cheap. I want to drive racing cars at some point in my life. That's not going to be cheap. So all these things require money. So for me, it's just a way of getting there, you know?
Awesome. I share that mindset as well since years ago that
Yep,
like, yeah, money, I see money as an enabler to
yep,
go and create experiences.
yep,
Whether that experience is, for example, me being able to pay for a personal trainer during lockdown. I'm like, that
right,
has been such a lifesaver. Or me
yep,
going for a massage, or me going traveling somewhere, or me training meditation instructor program. Like
yep,
experiences can be anything as simple as going for a meal out or
yep,
as fancy as becoming a Formula One driver like you want to.
yeah. I mean, like if you think about it, right? Like because I've always uh, till like 2 years before this, I've always been one of those guys that's always broke by the end of the month. And it's not fun because you can't enjoy life when you have to stress about thinking of how am I going to pay my bills, how am I going to pay this, how am I going to pay that. So you're not actually able to focus on the things that are important, like what you should be doing next because you're trying to figure this out, right? So money, it satisfies the basic needs, security, right? And once that's been satisfied, then you can go and focus on the higher needs of a person,
Yeah,
right? And right, so that's really what money is, if you think about it.
gives us safety and
Yep,
possibility, both
and possibilities. Yep,
safety and
like
possibility.
yep. I mean, it's also fun, like just the sound of I think my favorite sound in the world is when you press the button on your ATM and it goes like, krrr, where it's like counting money, like best noise in the world.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know to the ATM anymore. Everything is digital. Boom, boom, boom.
big pay.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
awesome. Okay, coming back to health.
yep,
In addition to training, as in the proper training session, you put a lot of emphasis on me drinking water and having the right amount of protein.
yep.
Can you expand on those two things, please?
Okay. So basically, in your case, what we're trying to do is help you lose more fat, right? And
And I
why
am
we
not
get
fat,
you.
by the way. Just
She
in
is not
case.
fat. She
Just in
she is
case.
not fat, but she is trying to get leaner, right?
Yes, correct.
And so why we drink water in a fat loss program or a body recomposition program is because number one, water has no calories. Number two is water helps manage hunger. It's it's a stupidly simple habit that so many people overlook, that just by drinking more water you are not binge eating as much, right? You're not bored eating as much, so as a result you're eating a lot less calories, which means you could lose potentially an extra 1 or 2 kilos over the course of a few months, right? Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're as small as you're not someone who's big,
No,
you're someone who just
I'm petite size.
yeah, you just have like a few more kilos of fat that you can lose before you're super lean, right?
Or I'm
So in
bodybuilder
that
competition. That's what he means, super
yeah,
thin.
yeah. So for you, even if you lose an extra kilo, that's a big change to your body, right? That's the difference between not having abs to having abs,
Yes, yes.
right? So that's why we drink water. Number two is because well, you are made of water. You are, this is 60% water, right?
More,
But a huge
right?
percentage of you is water, right? And all the functions in your body needs water to run, right? Thinking, digestion, everything basically, right? Because that's we are basically water, right? So make sure that that's the second reason why we get people to drink a lot of water, including fat burning. Fat burning is a process which works more efficiently with water as well, right?
Mm.
Why I get you to take protein is because protein can't be stored as fat. That's the craziest thing you should know is that your
Protein
body can't.
cannot be stored as fat. And my
Yeah,
carbs can. All my bread and my tortillas and my enchiladas and my tacos and all of that,
yeah,
my sushi, all of that is stored as fat versus
yeah.
protein is not.
So protein can't be stored as fat, and that's really crazy because if you're giving your body calories and your body can't store those calories as fat, and you're also in a negative energy balance, that means you're losing fat but not muscle, right? And that's the most craziest thing about protein, and this is why bodybuilders, they just protein, protein, protein all the time, right?
I
And
didn't know
also
that. You cannot store protein as fat.
you cannot store protein as fat. So for example, right, in your case, I've told you if you're in a caloric deficit, you lose weight. So here's the question, right? What if you're in a caloric surplus? I said you will gain weight, right? If you're in a caloric surplus, you gain weight. But what if you're in a caloric surplus from protein?
Protein. Oh,
Yeah.
in that case,
What happens then?
you just gain muscle. You don't gain fat. You don't get fluffy.
Yeah, yeah. You don't gain fat. You just build muscle. If you're in a caloric surplus with protein, you don't gain fat.
Oh, so I need to go back to my protein shakes.
It's crazy, and this is why like this that's two things that I care about a person's nutrition: how much calories you eat, how much protein you eat per day, right? These two things are the biggest factors. How much carbs or fat is completely up to your preference, as long as you can fit it within that budget that you're given. Protein has to be allocated. You have no choice there. Carbs and fat, you can do high carb, low carb, you get exactly the same results. Just follow what you prefer doing, right?
Ah,
Yeah. And also, right, when people take protein, they're like, man, I think I'm having a fever every time I take my protein. And that's because protein is requires a lot of energy to be digested. Your body has to burn a lot of calories to
mm.
digest protein, right? So what's happening is your body is heating up to digest that protein. So they call it meat sweats, right? You're sweating when you take a lot of protein. And if you
Oh,
take, for example, yeah, if you take 100 calories or 400 calories of protein per day, that's 100 grams of protein, right? You would burn approximately 120 calories to absorb that 400. And 120 calories is equal to around half an hour of jogging, right? You multiply that by 30 days, that means you burn an extra 3,000 calories. That's 1 kilo of, fat lost just because you're taking your protein.
interesting. Okay, talking about
Yeah,
protein. In my world, I see two types of proteins:
yep,
animal protein, plant-based protein.
yep,
I like to believe that plant-based protein is amazing and we can save the little animals and the pigs from
yep,
dying and the
yep,
planet. What's your
yep.
take as a personal trainer on plant-based protein?
Right. Um, plant. I would ultimately say for me these days I've been eating a lot less meat products as well. Um, I'm not as concerned about meat proteins or like plant proteins being better than meat protein. For me, ultimately, I'm doing it because of the whole global warming and the planet
Yeah.
thing, if people can make that shift to vegan protein because they see the bigger issue that we are all trying to collectively solve, which is global warming and all that, right? That's completely fine. But in terms of which protein has a better quality,
Mhm.
it's very negligible for people like us because I mean we are all very new beginners to training. Just eating better quality food, enough protein is enough for the most of us. So what I noticed is in terms of my clients, to some of them are die-hard meat eaters, right? And to go and tell them, hey, you have to start eating vegan protein, it becomes not sustainable for them, and they break off. Instead, what I try and focus in doing is I just get people to eat however they prefer eating or they have been eating. But if someone does come and tell me, hey, I'm trying to go into a vegan, like protein son, I give them all the options they could try because there is no wrong way of going about getting your protein.
What are the options, the plant-based options?
I mean, you have like if you're looking at protein powders, you have soy protein, you have pea protein, right? And they can be really tasty as well. And if you're looking at natural food, then you have the legumes, chickpeas. I think you make a lot of hummus as well.
Yes, I love my
Yeah,
hummus.
and tofu and tempeh. So this is a great way of getting protein. But also for a lot of people, if for them it is difficult to get it through natural food, just take your protein shakes. And I do understand that natural food is better, but some people just don't have the time for it, and it's not realistic. In a perfect world, right? Everyone is taking 10,000 steps a day. Everyone is weighing themselves every. Everyone is eating better quality, but it never happens. And the lifestyles of people are just so different from each other to have that one um, rule blanketing everyone doesn't work at all. So ideally, you're eating good quality food, but if it is more convenient, just take a protein shake because protein targets are non-negotiable. You must hit your protein targets.
Awesome. That's our next target then, because I've been ignoring my protein targets for a few
Yeah,
weeks, if not months now.
we are gonna start, in a few more weeks to start tracking your calories.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
why we get you to track your nutrition is because when people track the nutrition, they learn so much, right? They are like, for example, you want, right? She's my business partner, and recently I've been getting her to track her calories and stuff like that, and she's like, man, I'm learning so much about my body. And at that point, you understand this food is this many calories, this food has this much protein, and over time you can start making better and better decisions with how you eat food. And because it's numbers, you can quantify it again. Being able to quantify things is so important because numbers don't lie,
It's
right?
true.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very true. So we use a powerful mindset combined with discipline, combined with data-driven decision making. Wow, now it sounds like managing your health is like managing a business.
It is. It really is. It takes effort, it takes work, but when you do it, think about it, right? If you're someone who's an entrepreneur or someone who's trying, if you have a body that's functioning very, very well, you're taking care of it, you're generally going to have a lot more energy, right? I mean, like you're just able to work longer, you're stressed a lot less, right?
Yes,
And as a result you can take much better decisions, right?
yes,
Part of it, I mean, the mental game is the toughest part. Mentally, you can get through it mentally, but having a physical body to match that mental state is a huge boost to how you perform,
it does
you
make a
know
massive difference. And
yeah, like
at the end of the day, body mind are super connected. So strong
it,
body, strong mind.
yep, yep. I mean, this is why like a lot of my clients when they lose weight, they tell me, man, one of the things I feel right now is I just have so much more energy. Like, I just feel a lot less sluggish
Mm,
because the foods they're eating is better, and as a result, as an entire system, the body starts functioning better,
yes.
right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're releasing more happy hormones, and this is why I love exercising, right? Is that at the end of all that hard work, you get that hit of happy hormones. It's like your, yeah, yeah. That's basically all the cells in your body or your systems in your body just going like whoop, whoop.
Like,
Yeah,
whoop,
we're
whoop.
getting the good hit.
No, but it's
Yeah,
true because, like, especially if you work out, I don't know, I work out in the mornings. It's more of a, hey, I've done this in the morning and then I am ready for the rest of the day and I have a different mood versus when I wake up and I don't work out in the morning and then it's a little bit more sluggish, let's say.
yep, yep, yep. It definitely sets the tone for the entire day.
Awesome. So, talking about tone, as we are approaching towards the end of the episode, I wanted to ask, what is your best advice for someone who's looking to get either leaner or more disciplined when it comes to their workout routine?
Okay. I think discipline works like this, right? Discipline, some people can work without having someone to check on them. Some people need people checking on them. Basically, in my case, I have a system of accountability, right? And for me, the accountability is I have to pay people their salary. So if I don't work, like so for me, that form of accountability means I'm ready to do things that is very uncomfortable, because at the end of the day, I know that I have to report, or I have responsibilities, right? And for a lot of people, when building discipline, maybe that's one of the first things you can do, is to create someone to keep you accountable, right? And if you can find a personal trainer or a friend or a someone who can keep you accountable, cherish them and keep them along, right? And in terms of discipline, again, discipline is, again, the faster you come to terms that it's not fun, right? This is not something that is fun, but I want to do this because for me, that ultimate goal that I see far away, that moment is so I crave for that moment so bad. For example, someone who's saying, I want to lose weight, and for them being able to finally fit into a dress, right, that they wanted, or having changed their body entirely, or like someone telling them, oh, you look like you changed that moment for them is worth all that effort before it, right?
Agree.
To get, like, I have a client who's getting married, and I just was training her before this. She has to go through hell week for 7 days, right? 7 weeks, right? But for her, at that day of her wedding, when she shows up in her bestest one, for her all of this is worth it, because for her
The
that
days
ultimate
of the
goal is worth it. So I guess to build discipline in a way, you have to have a goal that is so you strive to achieve it, because if you don't have a powerful enough reason to do it, why are you disciplined towards it? I mean, what's the point of it, right? It's not something that matters to you that much. But if it's something that you're like, I have, like, this is something I want with everything, every ounce of my energy, that discipline, you will find it.
that is true.
You will find it.
That
Yeah.
is super, super true. Okay, and
Yeah.
one last more question. What do you usually celebrate the most in your life?
In terms of holidays,
No, celebrating, just like in terms of celebration, like day to day
oh,
celebration. See, the
oh
podcast is
uh,
celebrate you. So, what do you celebrate?
I love to celebrate um, my wins. Like, in the sense, if I was to explain how I celebrate my wins, is that when a client achieves their goal, that's a win for me. When something in my life that I've been working very hard for, I achieve it. I'm addicted to winning. I love winning, and I live for that. I strive for that, and that's what I'm always looking to celebrate, is that feeling of winning,
The
right?
wins of the day.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling, and that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. Is I have a self-talk. I talk to myself constantly, right? And I'm always you know, celebrating those little things that happen on a daily basis. For example, today there's one of my clients who messaged me, and she got into an accident last year, and she's not been able to train, but she was still following her nutrition plan, and she sent me a message today morning saying, "Okay, when I lost 7 kilos, just
Yay.
following nutrition, even though it's on." And for me, I feel great. I feel like I've been able to make a difference in someone's life, and those are the kind of things that I celebrate.
Amazing. That sounds like a beautiful way to finish
Haha.
the podcast. Anything else that you would like to tell our listeners?
Hmm. I guess what I have to say at the end of the day is, um, especially because this is a bunch of people who are looking to push further, is that man, it is not going to be easy, but you just have to be relentless towards whatever you want to achieve. Like nothing wants to stand in the way of something that's relentless. If you keep attacking, and you keep trying to figure it out, at some point things will change the way you want, right?
Yes.
And yeah,
That
yeah.
is absolutely beautiful. Kevin, it's been an honor having you in the show. Um,
Thank you very much.
it's like, I'm sure I'll speak with you in 2 days' time in our next
I'll speak
personal
with you in
trainer session. But
yes,
it's
ma'am.
been a pleasure having you in the show. Ladies, I hope you enjoyed. If you're looking for a personal trainer, do hit Kevin up. Oh, we almost forgot. Where can we find you?
Uh-huh.
Social
All
media.
right, so you can find out more about what we do on Movement Dynamics Fit on Instagram, and you can also check out our website, movementdynamics.my.
Mate.
So yeah,
Cool.
yes,
So Movement Dynamics Instagram or movementdynamics.my for the website.
yep, yes,
Amazing. Ladies, you know where to find him. He's really good. He'll keep you accountable. So
haha.
like he definitely will keep you accountable. And look at it's like that evil laughter. That's very him. So yeah, he'll keep you accountable. That's a fact. So hope
That's
you
my
enjoyed.
job.
Yes, that's your job. That's what we pay you for.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So hope you enjoyed the episode, ladies, and I'll speak with you next week. In the meantime, remember to re-listen to the episode, pick one idea, and implement that in your life. Awesome.
Immediately, implement it immediately, execute it immediately.
Immediately, as Kevin says,
Yeah,
immediately is important. Okie dokie.
yeah.
Actually, if all is going well in this recording, this is the first podcast that we are doing with video too. So you've been watching us. We
Right.
not be watching at the camera all this time, but if all went well, let's celebrate that it was the first video podcast.
I hope the video comes out well. I hope the video comes out
Yes.
well.
Okie dokie. Sending you
All
tons
right.
of love to everyone and see you next week.
Bye,
Bye.
Monica. Bye bye.